Far, far away, in a forest where the air smelled like rain and the trees whispered to the wind, two tiny parrots were born inside a small bamboo cage, tied to the top of an ancient tree. Their feathers were still soft, their eyes barely open, but they chirped with all the joy in the world. Their parents loved them more than life itself. Every day, the mother and father parrot brought food, sweet fruits, soft seeds, and sang gentle songs as they fed their babies. The forest was calm, the days were peaceful, until one day everything changed. That day, the sky turned gray. The wind grew louder, stronger, like an angry spirit sweeping through the forest. Branches cracked, trees bent, and the little cage, hanging high above, began to shake. The two baby parrots cried out in fear. Their parents tried to hold on, wings beating desperately. But nature had already decided. In one powerful gust, the cage was torn from the tree. It spun through the air, once, twice, 3 times, before crashing down through the forest. When the storm passed, the two baby parrots were gone. One had fallen into a peaceful hermitage of monks, the other into a dark cave filled with thieves. The first baby parrot, our bodhisattva, landed safely in a pile of flowers in the hermitage. When the monks found him, they were amazed. A small bird, alive, surrounded by blossoms. They smiled gently and said, "Let's call him Pushpaka, the flower parrot." From that day, Pushpaka lived among peace. He heard the monks chanting sutras, meditating, and speaking kind words. He watched them share food, heal the sick, and bless the travelers who came through the forest. Slowly, Pushpaka learned to speak as they did, softly, kindly, wisely. But his brother's story was different. The other baby parrot fell into a cave where a gang of thieves lived. They found him on a pile of weapons, swords, daggers, and bows. They laughed and said, "Ha! He's born among weapons. Let's call him Satikumba." From that day, Satikumba grew up surrounded by greed, anger, and lies. He learned their words, harsh, loud, full of hate. He saw them steal, cheat, and harm others without regret. Both parrots grew up, but their worlds shaped their hearts. In the hermitage, Pushpaka became part of the daily life of the monks. When they swept the temple floor, he chirped happily beside them. When they meditated, he stayed still, silent, calm. When visitors arrived, he greeted them gently. "Welcome, traveler. Rest here. May peace be upon you." Every monk loved him. They said he wasn't just a parrot. He was like a disciple who understood their way of life. Pushpaka learned something precious, that the words we hear and the people we live with can shape who we become. Meanwhile, deep in the cave, Satikumba listened to another kind of world. Take his gold, hide the loot, strike before dawn. Day after day, those were the words he heard. He learned to speak like them, sharp, cruel, unkind. He even laughed when they hurt others. The thieves loved him too, but for the wrong reasons. They thought it was funny to have a parrot who could repeat their wicked words. And so, Satikumba grew up believing that was the way of life. One bright morning, the king of the land rode into the forest to hunt deer. He was brave, skilled, and proud. But that day, his heart was restless. When he saw a golden deer, he chased it deeper and deeper into the woods. His men tried to follow, but the forest swallowed him. He rode until he was lost. Hours passed. The sun burned above. His throat was dry. His horse trembled from exhaustion. Finally, he stopped beneath a tree, dismounted, and sat down, tired and alone. He looked around. There was no sound except the whisper of leaves, and the faint echo of a parrot's voice. "Hey, look, a man wearing gold. Catch him, cut him, take his jewels." The king froze. He looked up and saw a parrot, small and green, shouting like a demon. He whispered to himself, "How can such a beautiful bird speak such evil words?" The forest suddenly felt dangerous. The king jumped on his horse and rode away, fast, his heart pounding. He didn't know where he was going. He only knew he had to escape that voice. After a long ride, the king saw smoke rising from a calm hermitage. The air smelled of sandalwood and flowers. He dismounted and slowly walked inside. The monks were away gathering fruit, but one small parrot sat on a branch near the gate, Pushpaka. When he saw the king, he fluttered down and spoke gently. "Pushpaka, welcome, O king. You look weary. Please rest beneath this tree. Drink this cool water. Eat these fruits. May peace be upon you." The king's eyes softened. He sat down, drank, and felt his fear melt away. He whispered, "How can one parrot speak like a saint, while the other spoke like a thief? Venerable sirs, I lost my way in the forest, but your parrot here saved me. He spoke like a wise being, full of compassion. Yet not far from here, another parrot cursed me and called for my death. How can such difference exist between creatures of the same kind?" The head monk smiles gently. "Monk, great king, both parrots were born together, in the same cage, under the same sky. But life took them down two different paths. One lived among the pure, the other among the wicked. As water takes the color of the flower it falls upon, so too does the mind take the color of its company." The king listened, silent, humbled. He looked at Pushpaka, who sat peacefully nearby, and bowed his head. That day, the king carried a new truth in his heart. When he returned to his palace, he gathered his ministers and said, "King, from this day onward, no one in my kingdom shall harm a parrot. They are creatures of wisdom, reflections of the voices they hear." Servants bow. The royal messenger spreads the decree across the land. And so, parrots were loved and protected throughout the kingdom. But more than that, people began to understand the deeper lesson. Pushpaka and Satikumba were not just parrots. They were mirrors, mirrors of human life. When we live among good people, our hearts become kind. When we live among evil people, our hearts grow hard. We may think we can stay unchanged, but the truth is, we all become echoes of the company we keep. So, my friends, ask yourself, who do you listen to every day? Whose voices shape your thoughts? If you fill your world with anger, you will speak in anger. If you fill it with kindness, your words will heal others. Be like Pushpaka. Live among wisdom, peace, and love. Because in the end, your voice will teach the world who you truly are. This is the story of the two parrots, a story about the power of influence and the light that lives inside every kind heart.